found a document that I was worked on about 2 years ago. I wrote it basically with an attended audience of two people, President Trump and President Duterte. One from the West and one from the East, the leaders of the world, right? And I wanted to really lay this out in a way that will allow them to see what an abundance economy would look like, and how it would work. So I wrote this document, and so what I wanted to do was go through it on a video to propose, that this might be something really to bring up and start doing right now. I have to rewrite a little bit of it to kind of update it with my with the new path forward economy that I kind of put together using the gold grain coin and carrots.
Oh, okay,
right?
I see what you mean.
Right. So I gotta rewrite it, and that's okay. It's just not too much to do because they're just two different. It's just more refinement is what I've done over the last 2 years to make something that would work with four pieces in unison have to be kind of laid out. And one piece is the bridge to the existing financial world, which is based in this gold grain coin, which is using the crypto technology, right, the blockchain technology, and gold, which is the old technology of finance, right? So this would be the bridge on how to, connect two economies, an ecosystem of a group based around abundance, and then the existing financial world. When I wrote this document, the idea was pretty simple. I was speaking with some of the people in Duterte's cabinet, and I wanted to, get to the point where I would be able to meet with him. And the same with Trump. I had someone who was friends with Trump, and Trump actually would call him and give him, asking him to go work with him, kind of thing, because he needed people in Washington. But he didn't. The friend of mine didn't want to go because that wasn't his scene anyway. But so I figured, this would be two entry points. I might be able to get this to them so they could discuss, how to make an abundance-based economy. Anyway, so I'm just going to I want to rewrite this to make it fit with gold grain coin, the carrots coin, and the abundance programs, and then the people, right? So the four of them work together, right, to create the economy.
Yeah, that's perfect. You get it together, but yeah, you need something.
So I think the new path forward group, I think might be the or society, New Paths Forward Society, would be a good way to go.
And you'll be Gematria ready.
Yeah, Gematria ready. Yeah. I know you said to use paths instead of path because it works better in Gematria, so it's okay.
Use paths, yeah, because of the system. It's in fact Gematria, Gematria, if you want to call it that way. I say it in Spanish, Gematria, and that's the way you say it in Hebrew too. But the way it works is simple. It's just coding, and it's the purest form that you can address the universe. So you can take, like words and stuff that we take to signify something. And if you really believe what a word is, it's just a or a ooh. It's a guttural or lingual fashion of a code. It's not really an actual writing. So when you transpose it to writing, you're taking it to the next level. And when you actually apply it to Gematria, then what you're doing is you're bringing it back to where it was in the beginning in the universe. You see, you're not exposing anything, but you're bringing it back. So when you find its true meaning as best as possible in the numbers, then you're bringing it back to the codings of the universe, which those are the shapes and designs, what make everything, what make the octahedron, which is the basic premise of the structures, the building blocks of the universe. You know.
Yeah. I'll I'm going to take a rewrite of what I already wrote here from 2 years ago. I just got to, add basically what I've been developing over the last 6 months is this balanced system.
Yeah. Right. Go ahead. You've thought about this well.
Yeah. So I had this. That's why I designed the gold grain coin to have like a combination of the yin yang for balance and the flower of life to bring creation of abundance. So that's why I put that for the gold grain coin, logo. How do you create abundance, right? You need to be able to have a system that's going to be perpetual, sustainable, and is rewarding all of the people in it, because without the people you don't really have anything, right? Because that's where the true value or the true power is, like in the people. The people participating in the system gives it the energy, right? So
it's beyond the people. It's the consciousness. The consciousness, when you involve the consciousness of the people. Because if you just have the people, then it's not. It's the people, then have the people involved.
So right now you have the current system. Let's say that we look at the current system. It's designed to be in this system of just extracting from the people to reward a few people, right? So it's still all about the people, except in the current system, it's only the very few at the top of the pyramid that win, right? But
everyone else is like not involved. Their consciousness is not involved. They're not receiving from it. They're not involved with it mentally, etherically, bodily.
Well, they don't understand it, right? Because it's obscured. Everything is a puzzle. Everything is confused by design to keep people from being able to have access. So I don't think there's any problem with having a ladder to climb to achieve, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with that part as a design.
Oh, yeah. You just hit a very delicate topic.
Okay.
That's one thing that is a no-no in the way this planet is run. They will not allow that. That's why you'll be actually battling the very essence that is imposing its restriction.
You mean like Kim is?
Exactly.
Because Kim is using what I just described.
Yeah. Well,
let me lay it out for you. Let me lay it out better than you'll.
I guess I beat around the bush, but it's what we're talking about.
All right, so because so Kim is she talked about this. So you've got one pyramid, right, and then you have the opposite posed on top of it, right. So now you have what looks like a six-pointed star. Right?
Yeah. What you have is
you have the alpha. You have the alpha and the omega, right? You have this, but both of these pyramids there's the bottom of the pyramid and there's a top of the pyramid. There's a focus of energy down to the pinpoint position. So this is neither good nor bad, right? But could be used for either. And right now it's been used for bad, right? It's been used to basically take away and suck all the energy out and not give anything back, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, again, it's a cycle of systems. So we have to have a cycle of systems, right? Using the same approach that has this a benefit though to everyone, and that is what will flourish because so how does everybody get rewarded in the current system? If you look at it from with rose colored glasses, like when I was growing up, right, and I was becoming a young entrepreneur from the very early age, right, and I was looking at, well, this is how you build, right, this is how you create, this is you go up the ladder, right, so not because it's presented as an open architecture. Here's all the rules. You follow these rules and you're going to achieve, right? This is how the system works,
Yes.
right? So the system, if we look at the big scale, the government level scale, the countries, let's say about this way, the country level scale. All the countries were brought together after World War II and put into the United Nations as incorporated entities, right? And so a lot of people were upset about the United Nations because they were voicing their opinion back then, saying, "Oh no, we're giving up our sovereignty," right? But the people didn't understand it. They didn't get it. They didn't know what this meant, right? It was a corporatocracy system that was being put together here, or the system itself as presented. So all the countries,
correct, yeah,
all the countries have to agree to this, right? So maybe just keep in mind every country has a few bad people that have been, gathering strength and gathering wealth, right, and supporting each other's badness around the world. So considering that most of they have to get everyone to go along with the plan, in which let's just say 90% of everyone was in general, good guys, good people, right? They want good things, want their children to do well. They want their neighbors to do well. Maybe they just have some, gray areas in that, but let's just say 90% of them. So how do you get the 90% to go along with you, right? Well, you present the plan that seems like it's going to be abundance for all. So they created this system. And this system was where the countries were to put up asset, right? But it wasn't just about putting it up, right? It was to register it to the trust, right? For the whole world, right? So there's a whole world trust. And then as they put this up, they would get currency. They would get the pretty paper. The pretty paper allowed them to do a humanitarian project. So let's say they wanted to build a dam, they wanted to build roads, they wanted to build schools, whatever it was for their country, the good of their country. So the central banking system was set up where you have the World Bank, the IMF, the Bank of International Settlements, the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Treasury, the Vatican Bank. Right? And so this is the system, the financial piece of this. And so to go along with make things work, what you did was you took this asset, whatever it was, register it to the trust, along with your humanitarian project. The World Bank would stamp a number on it. The IMF would then tell the Federal Reserve, okay, we're going to now do this humanitarian project. The humanitarian project would then be put into the trading system, to run up the numbers to create the money out of thin air that it was needed. And so let's say the value of the property that they put up, the asset, whatever they registered to the trust, which usually they transferred ownership of. So that this left their possession, right? So, but they were getting something back. They were getting this hospital, this road, this dam. So it's a good thing, right? They're able to build these now. So they put, let's say it was a $1 billion project. So they put up the $1 billion worth of asset. No, they put up $100 million worth of asset. They put up $10 million worth of asset. So they said, well, okay, we have this, okay, but it's going to cost us so much more. That's okay. They put it into the trading programs, which they traded the project between all the different traders in a programmed way that allowed for the project value to keep increasing within this group. At the very end of the day, they got their $1 billion out of the 10 million that they put in. Right, so it's a huge number increase for the asset they brought in. All right, and then they were able. So this was the candy. This was the lure. They started now moving all of their assets in. They were getting the currency. They were. So in this process, they were supposedly making their societies a better place. This was the good presentation, the good mousetrap that everyone basically fell into. Now, over the years, 50 years of doing this until whatever 2007, all the asset that there was already transferred in. So now what happens? Well, they got to now break the system, right? There's no more assets, so what are you going to do? So you cut off putting new money into the system, and that's what happened in 2008. And then what happens with Lehman Brothers and everything. So we see the effects is that we went into this economic decline where now the value of with the quantitative easing and the rest of this is all flooding into the system, because the value of the money that's in the system, the currency, there was no new money coming anymore. It was over. So they had to pump in air money, stuff that, helicopter money, just dropping in loads of cash to keep it in things growing, right? But there again, the value kept dropping and dropping and dropping. So now this is the system. This is what they put in place, and it was designed to put all of the assets into the hands of the very few. So how does this benefit everyone? If the system now stops, it stalls out. So it was presented as an abundant system. Everyone saw the benefit. All that 90% went along. No, maybe 80% of the 90% went along. And then here we are today. The system has collapsing. We know that there's a worldwide battle going on, and it's because they want to make a one world order. This is the move. This is what's been done to make things to the next stage for them, right? Where then, since all the asset is gone, it's all controlled. What you do left is you have to manage the people. That's the last asset that you now have to put into the pastures you want them to run in. You want to move them over there. You want to feed them whatever. They're your herd, right? So this is part of their mentality, and that's also what we're dealing with here. But now, if you look at making a system, an abundant system that's going to be perpetual, meaning that it self-sustains, that means that all the people have to benefit. The last system was designed to say, hey, yes, all the people are going to benefit from the hospitals. They're going to benefit from the roads. They're going to benefit from all of the things that are coming in. You're registering property. You're just registering asset as a country. And then was meant to say, oh, well, no one thought about the end when there was no more asset left, right? And that's what we've come to. So what do we do now is we look at these same tools, same structure, a pyramid structure, and then, like I said, Kim has the reverse of that. So she has the alpha and the mega, and there's a balance there. Even if you look at what Nikola Tesla put together with 3, 6, and 9, it's the same kind of concept, right? You have this perpetual motion that's happening from the two sides. One is in front of you and one is in back. One is in the ethereal and one is in solid. You have a system that works. So that's why when I looked at designing this new path forward system, it was to make sure that there was a balance between the sides, right? So there was two coins, right? One is external and one is internal. One was the gold-based asset system of the world. How do you access that? To be the engine for this system, and then you have an internal payment system for people that are inside the ecosystem. And then you have the people to be balanced out with their activities, right? Well, their productivity. So whenever they do anything, whatever, and they're promoting to build the ecosystem, there is a balance that comes out of that by a feeding back, as they're putting out the energy, they're putting out their productivity. There has to be now something that balances that off. They put it into the abundance programs, and then it would come back in the form of the second coin, which is the carrots. So we've got the grains and the carrots balanced out between the abundance programs and the community. So this is the idea. Now there's a governance model in this as well that basically has that ties in the grains, the gold grain coin, to the overall governance, meaning the people that are participating on a very basic level, the people that they're working with, which would be their general leaders, with the group of overall council of all of those groups, right? And then an executive branch, as part of that to oversee the running of the system. So a system that's now working off an abundance program based upon the gold, trading, and economic activity. This all goes together to form a system that could always benefit, always continue, and would get to the point where we can have our Star Trek society, where money is not as important. Yeah, it's just a factor of it's used as a factor for us to get to a point. Whether that's 100 years from now or 1,000 years from now doesn't matter. It gets us to the past. Right. It's just recognition of the tools. Right. It's just recognition of the tools. Right. Knowing that what the pyramid structure does. It's a gathering point of energy. It pulls energy from the base and it sends it to the tip. Right. Yeah. It's just a tool. But how do you use this tool? So all of these things that are, I know I've had some conversations where people talk about certain logos, and all those are, they're saying the Illuminati uses these, and it's all meant for bad things, and so it's like labeling everything, that ever uses this as a.
Do you think for one moment that our trustee of the planet, for 1 second, the tools that they use isn't the same tools that you use?
No, it's the same. It's the same. They're just tools. They're neither good nor bad.
The strength, and you need to have the heart, which is the consciousness, has to be attached to the task.
Yeah. Well, this is where we're at, right? So we're ready to proceed. I'm very excited to get to this point, right? But now it's now implementation, so we need action. We need people to participate.
The basic essence is that we're looking at we're inside of a box, and you can't see outside the box. We literally have to take a person, grab him by the hand, pull him up to the edge of the box, let him look around, put him over the box, outside the box, and then say, okay, now look at the real world. Because that's where we're at right now with society. We're so ingrained in a 9-to-5 job, which produces, some of it produces literally nothing. In our country, probably more than any other country, but you go to some countries, they're getting 10 cents a week salary.
Yeah. So for example, here in the Philippines, there's what they call contract work. Most everybody works on what they call this contract work. The point is right now is we need the people. to drive this. Right? We need to build businesses on this. It's about creating different kinds of businesses. Anything, as long as the recognition of that there is a back and forth between the community and that what we call abundance program. So whatever the programs are that people are running, that are connecting them into the ecosystem. Now, the grain coin is the basic system. The gold grain coin is how the flow of money happens